last video, we got the Coyote motor installed and we fabricated the rear transmission cross member. After that, I got the cab and front end back on the frame, put the suspension back on and set the truck at ride height. I found that the axle hits the frame at ride height, so what I did is I got a piece of cardboard and mocked up what I needed. I needed 5 inches of travel for the axle for everything to clear. So I mocked it up on some cardboard, got my measurements, transferred that onto a CAD file, and then sent that file off to a plasma cutting company and had these plates cut out of 3/16 steel. I'm gonna get these trimmed up today, get them welded onto the frame, and then reinstall the 4-link suspension to make sure I can sit at ride height rather, and get the travel that I need. So in order to get that done, we need to go ahead and get this rear 4-link disassembled. I spent the last few hours getting the frame ready, grinding out the areas for rust and primer where I want these plates to sit. I also prepped the back of the plates, ground down all the mill scale, and hit them with some weld-through primer so they're protected from the inside out. I made a reference mark on the front of these arches, which is roughly the highest point of the arch, and I want that to be right in line with my axle center line, so when the axle moves up and down, it'll have the most clearance that it can have off these arches. So let's go ahead and get this outer plate mocked up where we want it. Same on the other side, and then I'll run a level from side to side and get the other inner plates tacked into place after I get these outside ones. It'll be too difficult to do both of them at the same time, so I'm just going to start with the outside and then work my way in. Shop. We're going to continue to work on the arches for the frame. I've gone ahead and welded the insides of the frame here. My plan is to weld the inside of the frame where the old frame runs along the new arches, and then all the openings and the ends. And then after those are welded, I'll cut the existing frame out of the scenario and then go ahead and cap it. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this welded and start getting that top plate bent into place. We've got this side welded up. We go ahead and relocate our seat to the passenger side to get that side welded up. Go about it the same way. We'll weld inside the plates, where the plates can attach to the frame rail. We'll weld the ends, inner circles, into that frame rail. can utilize some stands around in the shop and just figure it out as we go. So what I'm going to do is make some reference marks on this plate that reference where these bends start and finish. Take it over here to my press, wedge it in between the metal, bend it, fit it, take it back, bend it some more or less. That's all I need to do. It'll be pretty tedious, but I think we should be able to get this fitted up pretty well. Looks like we got this plate pretty close. We can tack weld from one side and work our way over the other and fine tune the bends, just work the metal up and down. Getting it close is pretty much what I wanted to do, so let's get started. Tack welding this all the way up from back to front, and we'll do the other side as well. And our first side is done. We'll go hop on the other side and do the same thing. So I wanted to recap what we've done so far. We've put the arches into place, fitted everything up, bent the top plates how we wanted them, and got those welded into place. We're going to go ahead and fully weld those. So we've got so far, we got the side plates on, we've got the top plate welded into place, got some long welds into there, just spot welded over onto the side. We'll go ahead and weld up the ends right now. So we got one side down, got to weld it all the way across. It's nice and hot. So we'll go ahead and switch to this other side, get it finished up. So we've gotten to a point where we have to stop. I got the arches on both driver's and passenger side welded in, the top plates welded in, everything good. I conveniently ran out of gas, so we have to stop today. Before I cut out these lower arches, I would like to get the cross member for the coilovers put in, so I'm going to reassemble the rear axle and get that put into place. But like I said, I ran out of gas, so we're gonna go ahead and stop for today, get some new gas tomorrow, and then pick it up where we left off. We're back in the shop. I got one of the old frame rails cut out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and get the other one cut off. I know I said I was gonna get the cross member or the coilover mount put in place before I cut these out, but I decided against that. I just want to go ahead and get these cut out, and then I'll start bending up this bottom plate and tack welding that into place on both sides, and then I'll get the cross member put into place. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started cutting the other side. Now that the old frame rails are cut out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and get the bottom plates spin up, test fitted, and then tack welded into place. After I get those fitted and tack welded, I'll install the 4-link with the coilovers and get this cross member installed. We've now got our bottom plates tacked in, welded, stitch welded a little bit. I think we're good now to go ahead and reassemble the rear 4-link and get the cross member for the coilovers welded. So now that we've got the 4-link reinstalled, I'm going to set the frame at level. The front's already sitting down on the tires. Everything's compressed. The coilovers are set to where they want to be. So we'll set this frame down at level, and then we'll go ahead and mount up the coilovers to the axle, and then bolt it to the cross member. Set that where we want it front to back so that the springs have enough clearance between the axle and the springs so that it can move freely and not hit the axle. And then we should be able to just weld up the cross member and we'll be finished. So this is where our cross member is going to live. And we'll go ahead and get it tacked into place on 4 different points on the vertical and the horizontal axis, and then final welded in. I already went ahead and prepped the frame, got all the mill scale off of that, and we're good to go. So this is the final resting place of this cross member for the coilovers. This is about all I can do for now. I need to go ahead and get all this taken back apart and final welded. I don't want to fully weld this cross member in while I have the coilovers installed. I don't want any of the weld spatter to mess up the coilovers. So I'm going to get this all torn apart, final weld everything, and it should be good to go. And then I can start moving on to the brake lines and other items that I need to take care of. This will be it for today's video. Thanks for watching.